Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to yet again another edition of the S Stories right here on Sophiya Anjam's official YouTube channel. Every Friday 7 p.m. Sometimes we talk about a particular humanitarian cause, then we talk about politics if we want to. Otherwise, we have a guest over. We talk about things that matter, issues that are close to our heart. And so today I'm very excited because I have called somebody whose father I am a huge fan of as well. And I've heard so much about him, his talent, what he's doing. I'm really excited and really intrigued to know what he is up to. Ladies and gentlemen, let's warmly welcome Sherjan Ahmad. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on your show.
It's
Sophie.
a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure. I was just talking to him about the fact that you have such a great name. It sounds as if I could say Badshah ko bula rahi hu, Sherjan Ahmad. But he is of course a singer. He is a songwriter. He's a composer. He's a musician, and you have some strong genes there, I might add. So welcome to the S Stories. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's lovely to be on your show.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. So you've been here in the city of Lahore for a while now. What's cooking?
So I've been here since the summer actually.
Okay.
From July.
Okay.
And was helping my dad with some projects.
Okay.
I'm sure you must have seen the recent.
Absolutely, I've seen a lot of recent things coming up from your dad, I might add. Now this is great, and especially because we had the election first, and then mashallah everyone was really excited and happy that Naya Pakistan came into being. Now we've set our country in the right path, and we're looking forward to a great change also. So musically speaking, I want to ask you a couple of questions, okay? Now you are the new kid on the block, and everyone's talking about Salman Ahmed's son who's going to make it big, and he's coming out with these interesting songs. But you've always had a history when it comes to music because of your father and Junoon and Vital Signs of that fraternity. But when did you realize that you have the interest in music?
So I think like dating back to when I was a kid in Pakistan, I remember on my 6th or 7th birthday, one of the house workers got me a small guitar.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah, and the strings were made out of plastic.
Oh, okay.
So like all I did was just like, I didn't like take it seriously, but I just loved,
like strumming the guitar
and hearing tunes and stuff.
Oh, wow.
So that's where I think I first developed a true sort of passion for music and playing the guitar.
That's quite sweet. Who would have thought that that little guitar had so much of an impact on your life altogether? So now let's take a trip down the memory lane and talk to Sherjan as a 10-year-old. Now what was going on in your mind? Did you have any hopes, dreams, aspirations?
So at 10 years old, not like major dreams or goals, but I was always sort of like a daydreamer.
Okay.
Like if I was in class in school, I wouldn't recommend people to do that, but like I would just be dozed off. Like,
all right, so little John Lennon, huh? Weren't you?
Yes. Yeah? And I would just be kind of like imagining myself in the future.
So you had a really strong imagination even as a kid. What did you imagine? What were your dreams?
So I think it was always linked to at a young age, it was always like linked to random things.
Okay.
Like I remember we used to watch cricket a lot.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a strong interest in cricket?
Yeah, like sports is a very big thing in our family also.
Fantastic.
And
what kind of sports? I want to know.
I loved, so when I moved to New York, I was baseball and basketball and cricket was always a big thing.
And it's a very desi thing, of course. It has to be there.
You can't let that go of you.
You cannot. It's just in your blood. You can't help it. Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. So sports was, I think, sort of something I could imagine myself doing. Like I loved doing competitive sports. Like I was always competitive when it came to playing any types of sports.
Okay, so what about, like you have all these house captains in your schools and colleges as well. Did you take part in all those competitions?
What do you mean by house?
Yeah, so I remember when I was in school, right? So we used to have all these different sort of houses like Eagle and Falcon and Kestrel and Swift, and we used to participate, and then somebody used to be the vice captain and the captain and then the head girl and all of that. So were you in like the sports team or something, were you a jock when you were in college? Like I really want to know, were you into sports in college and school as well?
I did. I joined, there was a thing called Little League Baseball.
Okay.
So I used to be part of different teams in high school, but I was never a jock. Like I was always the type who was, friends with the popular kids, the studious ones and the one in the quiet ones.
Okay, sweet.
So I was always friends with all of them.
Okay, that's nice. That's lovely. Okay, that's fantastic. So coming back to the point that, I remember you were just talking about the fact that you were a dreamer and you used to daydream. So did you think that, you were performing and there was a crowd and the crowd was applauding for you? Was that one of the dreams?
Actually, yeah, I used to imagine myself as a kid, like with a guitar and just like playing in front of a crowd and stuff. But I never sort of actualized it or made it into a realization. But I think it's very powerful because I think Einstein said like imagination is more important than knowledge.
Absolutely, it is.
Yeah,
because it's the creative process.
Yes, and I think if you can imagine it, then you can take action on it. And hopefully, the result isn't in your hands, but you can take action on it.
That's true. That's what they say, that an idea can change your life. So now let's come to music and your inspirations, and also what kind of music did you take a listen to as a kid and then while growing up?
So definitely as a kid, I joke with my friends also that the first concert was a Junoon concert.
Okay, all right.
And I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. And at the time, you didn't understand the music as much, but like you kind of got the idea, okay, my dad is a musician and he's known and all of that. So, and I remember at the birthday parties, some of my teachers would just ask me to come, can I come to your birthday party just to meet my dad?
Yeah, of course. I remember because I was born in the 80s. And I grew up in the 90s, right? So I remember 80s and 90s, 80s I don't really remember as such, but 90s I remember as a kid that it was all about Junoon and Vital Signs initially when they began. And I remember that in Lahore Gymkhana, Junoon had a concert. और पूरे रोड के ऊपर ना वो ब्लॉक थी रोड क्योंकि गाड़ियाँ पार्क हुई नहीं थी. And I remember Ali Azmat in his whole attire with his curly hair. And I remember that he said कि now this is a shout out to all the girls who are attending the concert right now कि मुझे कोई pony दे अपनी because I want to tie my hair. And everyone was like, okay, you take my headband, you take my ponytail. That was the kind of craze that Junoon had in Pakistan.
That's so funny. I never knew that story.
Yeah. So now I want you to tell us that what did you grow up listening to about Junoon and Vital Signs?
So it's interesting you bring up those two bands because even like at a young age, like the two Pakistani bands or music that I was listening to was Junoon and Vital Signs. It's just something about that music that's even relevant to today's time and it's timeless, music. So,
they were special.
Yeah,
one of its kind.
And I think that inspired me also. The Junoon music inspired me to pick up the guitar.
Right.
And what I would do when I was 13, that's when I took the guitar seriously.
Okay.
So
how did you learn the guitar?
So initially, it started off just having the guitar in my hands.
Okay.
And my dad initially taught me like the basics, like the very basics.
Right.
And of course, since he was traveling and busy, so he didn't really have the time to like always sit and teach me. So, but I was so passionate that I taught myself. And I would listen to Junoon songs and figure out the guitar chords and solos by ear.
Wow, how smart is that? But you had it inside of you, that's why you basically pursued it.
Yeah, there's definitely that that need, that thing you want to do it. So that was there.
So now let's talk about some of your favorite Junoon tracks. Yeah.
So I could go for like the ones that people know.
Yeah, the popular ones.
The popular ones.
Sure.
And I like those as well. But these days I've really been listening to one from their Ishq album.
Okay.
It's called Kaise Gaon Mein.
Okay, fantastic.
And then there's another one I like, Mitti.
Of course, what a beautiful song.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a great song. And also Junoon just celebrated their 20th anniversary also, and I remember that I was, in fact, last year they celebrated their 20th anniversary, I believe in 2017.
I think, a couple years or last year.
Yeah, and so how did you feel about the whole impact of Junoon as a band here in Pakistan? Because anywhere you go, they start off by talking about Vital Signs and Junoon, and everybody else comes later, like Awaz or strings उसके बाद आता है, सबसे पहले Junoon, Vital Signs आता है. So how do you sort of like the feedback when you talk to people about these two bands? What do you listen to? What do you hear very often?
I think I've noticed that these bands like Junoon and Vital Signs have sort of become like soundtracks to people's lives.
True.
And you
That's
also
so true. Nostalgia. I agree with you.
There's a nostalgic thing about it, and you also hear the same. You know, like we were watching the cricket, Pakistan versus India. Not India, I think it was Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, oh my god. It was like a nail-biting finish. I was like, are you going to finish it or what, man?
I mean, it was a great match.
Yeah.
And I remember they were playing Dil Dil Pakistan and Zamane Ke Andaz with Junoon. So it's so cool that Junoon and Vital Signs are always there, linked. Even in sports events and stuff.
I believe that Jazba Junoon by Junoon was also that one track that really got us going. Jazba Junoon. Why am I singing? I don't even know how to sing. Anyway, you have that effect on people, I guess. You just start, singing all together. Okay, now let's talk about your brothers also. I believe you have two brothers. They're in the same field. Let's talk about them.
Yes, so my eldest brother Shamil, he's a lot into like poetry.
Okay, nice.
He likes writing poetry and he's also into fashion.
Oh, nice.
So he likes dressing up and modeling and stuff. And then my youngest brother Imran, he's into filmmaking.
So I heard.
Yeah.
Yes. And hopefully we'll have him over on the show very soon also.
Definitely.
I'm sure, Imran, you're watching this right now. I'm dead sure of that. Yes.
I'm sure of that too. So Imran actually did a video, a tribute video to Junaid Jamshed, the Khwab video.
Of
so
course.
he compiled all of that, and he's also into music like me. So so me and him sometimes actually play live.
You jam together?
We jam together as well.
Wow. Okay, that's lovely. So when we talk about the fact that Sherjan Ahmad is going to be performing at a gig, who else do we see with you about your band and all that? Who's singing with you?
So actually, I don't know if I told you this, but back in the States, I have this other band, an English band.
Okay, that's
and
cool.
It's called the B Stills.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, inspired by the Beatles in any way?
Of course.
Okay.
And in that band, it's just...
I knew you had a John Lennon inside of you somewhere. Yes.
I think it creeps sometimes.
Yeah, it creeps in somewhere. Okay.
And so that is English-based music. And Imran actually plays bass in that band too.
Really? And how many members do you have in the band?
There's a total of 4 people. And they're all high school friends, which is so cool.
That's
like
wonderful.
We formed it when we were in high school.
Okay, and what kind of a sound does your band have?
It's an alternative like rock.
Okay.
Kind of like Coldplay.
I love Coldplay.
Yeah.
Yes. Fantastic. Okay, that's nice. And how long has it been? A couple of years?
It's been together for like 4 years.
For 4 years. And you release singles or you're thinking of releasing an album as a band together? We
have released an album actually a few years ago. We've got like a total of 10 songs.
Oh, that's fantastic. What is the album called?
It doesn't have a name yet. It's like titled just like singles. So we kind of just put out singles.
That's cool. So it's titled Singles?
Yeah.
That's a great name for an album.
Singles.
Hey, the name of my album is called Singles.
Singles.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So now, as a solo artist, you're performing here in Pakistan, I believe.
Yeah.
So you're planning on releasing an album, I guess?
Yes, I am.
You said that you're working on it?
So I recently put out this my first Urdu single called Azad.
Okay.
And that actually was something I was wanting to do for a long time.
And it's a really nice single.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, your dad has been sharing it for a long time also. Ye check karo, mere bete ne kya acha gana banaya hai.
He's very supportive, just like my mom.
Yeah.
They both, they're very proud whenever even if it's just like, performing at a talent show or something, they're always there and encouraging.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, and this song, I feel like is just one of the first steps to putting out more Urdu music.
Right. ये बहुत अच्छा step है because शेरजान पाकिस्तान में अगर आपने reach out करना है market को तो उर्दू ज़बान के ऊपर थोड़ा सा जो एक emphasis है ना वो करना पड़ता है. So how good are you with Urdu?
Pretty good. I don't know like the advanced Urdu, that you hear on radio or TV.
Yeah.
But I can speak good Urdu.
Okay.
Because back in New York, we were always so connected to Pakistan.
Sure.
Even though we're miles away. But
so you were born in New York?
I was born in Lahore.
You were born in Lahore, and then how long did you stay in Lahore before you went back to New York?
So Lahore, I was born, but then we shifted to Karachi.
Okay.
I was there for 7-8 years.
Okay.
Then moved to New York.
Okay.
So not too long, I guess.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, that's lovely. So let's now talk about the kind of inspiration that you have today. Now, as a kid, you talked about it now. What kind of music do you like to take a listen to in today's day and age, and the kind of people and artists that you admire?
I love Coldplay.
Okay.
I think that was one of the inspirations to get into singing and songwriting.
Yes.
Initially, I was just a guitar player.
Okay.
And like any guitar player, you just want to hear guitar solos.
Sure. Yes.
But then I think when I was listening to bands like Coldplay, Radiohead.
Oof, I love them.
Yeah, like these bands are amazing.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into, and Junoon, of course, in Urdu music.
Yes.
And that's how I got into songwriting.
Because their music is meaningful.
Yeah.
They're not just talking about the fact that, hey girl, I saw you at the club, you're looking fine, okay, you want to come to my place, or shall I come to yours? Honestly speaking, this is all that people are talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, fine, I do like electronica as well, I do believe that that's great, but I think there should always be meaningful music attached. How much importance do you give to lyrics when it comes to music?
So that's a great question, because my songwriting, everyone has their own style of songwriting. For me, I think it's a melody that comes to me first.
Okay.
And
so that's your creative process. The melody comes to you first, and then you fill in the blanks.
Yes.
Yeah.
But sometimes when people say fill in the blanks, it kind of sounds like you don't care what you're saying. You're just trying to fit in and make it sound good.
Okay.
But actually, the melody kind of...
Or you fit the pieces of puzzle together.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a better way of saying it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And the melody kind of dictates the feeling that you're trying to put out in the song.
Okay.
And if it's a sad melody, then what you're going through in that moment and you're trying to convey, you put those words out and create lyrics
accordingly, of course.
Accordingly to the melody.
Okay.
And so it's a very everyone has their interesting style. For me, I always switch it around.
Okay.
But with this song especially, I followed that pattern.
Okay, fantastic. We're also going to be watching the video, I believe, and we'd love for him to perform as well in just a bit. So just hang in there. So here comes a very interesting question. Now, your father is an activist. And he's been working in Pakistan for a long time for different social causes also, and then for a lot of political causes as well, because we believe that it's a high time that people talk about change, and finally it's happened. Naya Pakistan. How do you feel about it?
So actually, there's a cool story to this.
Yeah.
When I arrived to Lahore, it was on the day of the election.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, the 25th of July?
25th of July, early morning.
Okay.
And I remember we got up with jet lag, of course, and we went to vote.
Oh, wow.
And it was, I forget the area we were in, but it was a very, sort of like a village-like area.
Okay, so it was congested?
Yeah, it was very congested and packed. And coming from the New York weather it was really hot.
For sure, I'm sure. Yeah.
But we were there for hours and put in the vote, and a few days later you find out, your vote made a difference.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
It was great, and the whole family went, my dad, mom, and
everybody together. That is so good. I think बच्चों के अंदर ये चीज़ बिल्कुल डालनी चाहिए माँ बाप को कि आपको वोट की importance का पता होना चाहिए. This is something that we must emphasize as well. And the other day I was talking to somebody, we were talking about how an individual can make a difference, and I was like, you know what? The biggest mistake, or shall we say the biggest regret in the world, is that we believe that somebody else is going to do it for us, right? So that is the thing. Nobody else is going to do it for us. We have to go ahead and make the change. How do you feel living in our society in Pakistan? Do you feel that we are tolerant and acceptant as a society? Accepting, actually. What is acceptant? Is that a word?
So I think coming this time, I don't know, also after the whole election and this new sort of age, you could say, you just felt like things changed, and
there's change in the air.
There's change in the air, and I definitely feel like I haven't lived in Pakistan So I always have been visiting, you know, every
Off and
year.
on, yeah.
But I definitely see like the tolerance you're talking about with people, especially like in my circle of people. I
Yes.
definitely see more tolerance and acceptance.
Right.
But of course, you know, there's always with the good, there's always bad.
Of course.
In any country.
Sure.
So it's never perfect, but
we're getting there, aren't we?
But we're getting there, and
you
I
stepped into the right direction.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I remember there used to be a time when I was a kid
Yeah.
where nobody would stop at the red light. Now I actually see people stop at the red light,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I have seen some change.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
definitely people would want to make a difference in the society also. Now, I think it's time for the Unplugged session. So what are we singing today? What are we performing?
So I'm gonna do like a sort of a little medley, you could
Okay.
say, with the new song that I
Sure,
put out,
sure.
Azad, and a special song that I'm sure everyone will recognize when they hear it.
Okay, fantastic. Really looking forward to this performance also. But one quick question that I have for you now. You know, if you talk about the Pakistani music industry, there are so many different artists coming out with their sort of music. Like, for example, I love Nasir and Shahab. I don't know if you know of them or not, but you know, they're a brilliant duo. Their kind of music is fantastic. We have all sorts of platforms. Coke Studio bhi hai, Pepsi Ballad the Bands bhi hai, Nescafe Basement bhi hai, Levi's Live bhi hai. So, how are you liking the new wave of the Pakistani music industry so far?
I like it. I think like platforms like Coke Studio
Yeah.
and Pepsi Battle of the Bands.
Yeah.
I've seen also a few of the
Yeah.
Nescafe.
Sure, yeah.
And that's actually really cool because it's just, I think they're underground
Yes,
artists.
they are.
Yeah.
Yes. And fresh and brand new and
Brand
new kids.
new. Yeah. And I love how they just innovate
Yes.
the songs that they're
And
doing.
Zulfi is brilliant, you know. Have you heard him sing?
I've heard of Zulfi. He's
Yes.
a producer.
So basically,
Yeah.
Zulfi started off this band called EP, and it's
Okay.
back in the day. You know, he was one of the co-founders of the band, and then so many other people joined in as well. And then he formed another band called Call,
Okay.
and it was massively famous as well. So Zulfi is a great singer, songwriter, musician.
That's really cool. Yeah, so these platforms,
Yeah.
I think they're very necessary.
Okay.
And they're doing great because they're promoting art and culture, since not that many concerts happen
Yeah,
nowadays.
yeah.
There used to be, you know, back in the 90s.
90s was great, you know, with respect to
Concerts,
concerts. It was
yeah.
amazing.
And,
Yes.
and now, of course, you know, through time, that's sort of gone down, but these platforms are actually helping showcase like
Yes.
Pakistani talent, and you see it, you know, every day on the TV.
Yes,
You
and even
always
the
see it.
corporate world, you know, they're really supporting a lot of talent, which is great. Okay then, so ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Unplugged performance. And as Sherjan mentioned also, we have a special surprise, so keep watching.
दुनिया के सामने एक चेहरा है छुपा, कोई जाने ना तुझे और तू चुप रहा, रास्ते खाली हैं बस तेरे लिए हाजिर हैं, कुछ करना है तो कर, बस तू ही है, तू है, सुन तो ले है, आगे अभी जाना है, चल चले है, सुन ले अपने दिल की, सुन तो ले है, आगे अभी जाना है, चल चले है, सुन ले अपने दिल, आज़ाद मुझे करो, आज़ाद मुझे करो, ओ यारो यही दोस्ती है, किस्मत से जो मिली है, सब संग चले, सब रंग चले, चलते रहे हम सदा, ओ यारो यही दोस्ती किस्मत से जो मिली है वो सब संग चले सब रंग चले चलते रहे हम सदा चलते रहे हम तुम यूं ही बढ़ते रहे हम तुम खुशियों के संग हम तुम सदा हो चलते रहे हम तुम यूं ही बढ़ते रहे हम तुम खुशियों के संग हम तुम सदा हो यार यही दोस्ती है किस्मत से जो मिली है वो सब संग चले सब रंग चले चलते रहे हम सदा
I love what you did right there. That was fantastic. Sherjan, really, that was lovely. I loved your sort of guitar playing. I loved your singing. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Congratulations on your singer. Good luck. And any famous last words before we sign out and let you go?
I just want to say thank you to Sophie for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
And I just want to say that, you know, a lot of the young generation, like from my age group, like people are very confused, you know, in what they want to do and stuff. But I would just say the message to follow their heart and do what you love. And that's all I would love to say.
That's lovely. I think that's wonderful and straight from the heart, Sherjan. Thank you so much once again, and we wish you all the very best.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching the S Stories right here on Sophiya Anjam's official YouTube channel. And as Sherjan rightly pointed out, just listen to your heart, because that is the best thing that you can do in your life and to yourself also. But my thing that I really want to focus on as well is the fact that when you talk about Pakistani musicians, actors, artists, respect them because they represent our country. On that note, Pakistan, Zindabad. Bye-bye.